So Sunday afternoon game, Raiders, Patriots, home game, Allegiant Stadium. This actually this will probably be a home game for the Raiders because the Patriots are so terrible. They got a lot of fans, but let's be honest, they're fans because they've won a million Super Bowls, not because they're diehard, right? Raiders -3, Allegiant Stadium, afternoon game, afternoon window. God, the Patriots suck. You hate to see it. You know what I mean? It's really tough. You hate to see a fan base that's, been through so much, that have struggled so hard over the last 20 years, barely winning a title every other season. You hate to see them lose. They've lost the last 2 games by a combined 72-3. They haven't scored a touchdown since the Meadowlands in week 3. This offense is rough. It's a bad team.
It's bad. One thing that probably might tip in our favor too is the Pats fan base is looking to boo. They're like looking to pick on stuff to get upset about because of
they're sunshine fans. They're nothing but win. They've had Brady for 20 years.
I don't think anyone is going to this game as a Pats fan with like a shine of optimism in their eye. They're looking to boo Belichick. I think Belichick is getting on a short leash, son. Because look, you remember what happened to Bill Parcells, right? Same thing happened to Bill Parcells. He had the lay of the land, the king of the castle. He had personal decisions and everything. They took personal decisions away from him. He coached the following season and he dipped. I'm out.
Yeah.
So I can see because they just don't have a lot of talent on their team. They're just. Can you name one player other than, let's say, Christian Gonzalez that's going to be on the team in 5 years?
IR anyway.
Yeah. Can you name a guy on their team that's going to be on the team in 5 years? Like, no, you probably can't because they don't have a lot of talent. Yeah. So that's what I foresee happening before Belichick gets fired. I think he's going to get maybe some of the responsibilities stripped away and have, let's say, the new GM or president or whatever, however they call it over there, have that person report directly to Robert Kraft instead of go around Belichick and you just coach the team that we put on the field for you. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And I don't like the fact that they put up such poor performances 2 weeks in a row because it's just the percentages of it happening again get lower and lower the more it happens. So like if they would have put up they lost 24-0 last week. If they would have put up 10 points, 24-10, it would have been something. And then, they're terrible again. Oh my God. But doing that, no touchdowns 2 weeks in a row, it's going to be tough for them to do it a third week in a row.
And us coming on a short week as well. And Belichick, well, this is what I'm wondering is are things starting to, is Belichick and the Pats, because look, I've always, you've heard me say it a million times, right? What keeps continuity of a winning franchise? Ownership, coach, quarterback, right? They still have Robert Kraft. They still have Bill Belichick, right? They don't have Tom Brady, but they got 2 of the 3, right? They still got something. When Belichick came on the press conference, he's like, "Hey, we're starting over. We're going to turn things around. We're gonna, whatever that may be." I'm wondering if Bill Belichick is actually feeling pressure because he's been untouchable for 15 years. It's like I can do anything, and even if it doesn't work, they'll be like, "Well, Bill tried it. He'll get it right the next time because he's built that kind of equity, rightfully so, right? Win all those titles." Is he starting to feel the walls closing in on him? Is he starting to get a little desperate?
I think he's been feeling that. A few years ago, Robert Kraft was like, we haven't made the playoffs in 2 years. We haven't won a playoff game in 4 years. He's been feeling this. So I'm not too sure that they haven't already had this conversation. They mean Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft about. Now, the thing is look, you could put Bill Belichick, you could put Vince Lombardi on those 0-16 Lions and Cleveland Browns teams. They're not making the playoffs. You need talent to win. And Tom Brady's proving it. You don't have your quarterback. Your quarterback is in the game, maybe other than a hockey goalie. There's no bigger eraser in football than your quarterback. Oh, the defense is struggling. Okay, well, Tom Brady can win shootouts. Oh, well, you know what? I don't have a lot of talent in my wide receivers. Well, Tom Brady's going to have to fit it in tighter windows. Oh, well, I messed up that call. Well, Tom Brady's going to have to, get this third down. So if you have a good quarterback or or a great quarterback, it can cover up a lot of stink. And I think what Bill Belichick is seeing now is you can't do things the way you did in the past. You need to have your players. You need to have players, and he has no players.
Well, but that's also the thing is that's all on him, right? Because he's the GM and he drafts,
and that's why I started with. That's probably what's going to get stripped first.
But the defense has been bad too, right? Like that was the thing is like, that you had Tom Brady on the offense, and then Bill Belichick on the defense. Championships. That's championships, right? I understand the offense is going to start taking a dump a little bit, but the defense hasn't been. It's not as awful as the numbers say because there's been so many turnovers. Like the offense has been so bad that the defense is giving up. What's the Pats defense is giving up 26.2 points per game. That's 25th in the NFL. A good chunk of that has to go to all those turnovers and how bad the offense has been, right? Similar to the Raiders, right? It's been
and that's why I was saying, like, I've been saying this for years. The offense does help the defense by how they play. Mm-hmm. If it's a lot of 3 and outs, even a good defense is going to get tired and they're going to wear down late. Last game you saw, the 24 points is a little misleading because they got 2 defensive scores or something like that. They got an interception return and like a block punt. So the defense only really gave up 10 points, and then their offense gave them 7, and then I think the special teams gave them 7. So
this is one of those games where I don't think Jimmy. We don't need Jimmy G to win it for us. We need Jimmy G to not lose it for us. I think it's one of those games. Like this could be a 3-4 turnover from Jimmy G game, 5 sacks, and the defense just can't keep up with how bad our defense can't keep up with how bad our offense is going. Like I feel like it's that. I feel like the game is like Josh McDaniels is like grabbing Jimmy G by his chiseled jaw and his like pouty come hither lips and saying, "Look at me, just protect the ball, just protect the ball. That's all I need from you today. Just protect the football." Because Pat's offense is awful. Last in the league in points per game, 11 points per game. Like I said, they haven't scored a touchdown since week 3. They're bad.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, RJ, because we've seen defenses who have maybe not as sophisticated and creative defensive coordinators be able to stifle Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to just play the game and make the right reads. He can't just sit back and be checked down Charlie because we're not going to move the ball either. He has to make the plays that are there. He didn't have to press, but his interception, that ball should have gone to Davante Adams 15 yards further down the field. He just didn't look there because of whatever, he didn't want to throw it. Michael Mayer, a couple of times, did a really good job of chipping and with a late release, and he was wide open. That's something about chipping with a tight end. A lot of times the linebacker cheats or the safety cheats when he sees the tight end block and leaves him, and he ends up being wide open. So I don't necessarily, I don't know if that verbiage sits quite right with me. I think he still needs to make the plays that are there because you still have some talent defensively. Like Christian Barmore is still out there. He can wreck a game up the middle because our interior offensive line is not great. I don't know if Matthew Judon's going to play. Probably not. But if he does play, he's somebody that can, put a lot of pressure. So you can't just sit back and think that your offense is just so good. You could just can't make mistakes because you do have a good defensive coordinator on the other side.
I'm saying the only way the Pats beat us is if the offense makes mistakes because their offense is so bad.
The only way we're going to win this game, RJ, is if Jimmy Garoppolo makes the right reads. It's not about making mistakes with him. It's about making the right reads because you can not make a mistake by checking down and you didn't turn the ball over, but the mistake was you didn't get it to the right read down the field. That's the big difference.
Once Jimmy G goes off leash a little bit is when I'm going to get deathly scared. Like
again, we're making 2 different points here. Pushing the ball down the field when it's the right read is not making a mistake. It's not going off the leash. But I don't want him to be checked down Charlie either. I want him to make the proper read.
I want him to have ball security #1 priority. Like, of course,
RJ, if you play like that, RJ, it's going to be checked down Charlie City, and we're looking at a 6-3 game that we're probably going to lose.
No, and then Mac Jones has the ball, and this is what happens. Like, look how bad Mac Jones is and how much worse he's getting, right? Like, 30 passer rating last game, 39 before that. Like, he's getting worse. He's getting worse and worse. He's lost this offense. Him and Belichick are at odds. Like, it is anarchy. Like, the ball in Mac Jones's hands, it's almost a good thing. Like, it's almost kind of like, oh, good. Like, good things are going to happen for the Raiders because Mac Jones is quarterbacking right now. And like, look, we're both being like I'm not trying to be as black and white with it, right? Like, of course, like there's a wide open guy for Jimmy G, throw it to him. And
so again, you're going all the way around to the other thing. He doesn't have to be wide open for it to be the right read. I don't want him to be a check down Charlie. We can't win that way.
If he turns the ball over too often, that's the only way I think we lose. Is if the offense does not turn the ball over, I think we guaranteed to win. Their offense is so bad. Like, we're literally the worst in football. 11 points per game. Their offense. If they get turnovers,
they played a couple of really good defenses the last couple of weeks. We've only played one good defense. We've played some pretty bad defenses this season. So I don't think that it's going to take too much from their defense to stop our offense if we're being checked down Charlie. We have to make plays, even though, because we still have to score to win.
We do, but I think the only way we lose is if we lose the turnover battle, which we lose the turnover battle every single game except for Jordan Love closing his eyes and throwing into Spillane's arms.
The best part about this is we'll find out on Sunday.
I hope Max just embarrasses Trent Brown. I hope he just like spins him like a top. That would be anything that's not very specifically points related. That's the number one.
He didn't look good at all last week. Trent, if you see him play, he didn't look good at all.
He hasn't looked good since that one season with the Pats that made John Gruden decide to make him a millionaire.
He's been serviceable, but he has been looking bad lately, really bad.
You know what's wild?
Jokers.
Since Bill Belichick arrived in New England, there's only 3 coaches that he's faced multiple times that he's never beat: Al Groh, Ron Rivera, and Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels beat him twice, right? We beat him last season, and he beat him when he was in Denver. He could be 3-0. Like, he's favored to be 3-0 against Bill Belichick. Like, one of the worst head coaches in football is going to be 3-0 against one of the best head coaches in NFL history.
Well, one of the best
makes no sense.
I mean, recently, without one of the reasons why he is considered the best.
Yeah.
Look, it's just the NFL is passing Bill Belichick by. He can't build a team the way he built a team before with a bunch of good players and no great players. You have to have great players to win. And he lucked into getting Tom Brady because I don't care what. Well, he picked him. It's not luck. Yeah, it is because he picked him to be a backup quarterback. Okay, just stop. So, where's the greatness on that team? There really is none. So, this whole do your job thing again, he doesn't have that human element because you can do everything right and you just got a special player on the other team, a Davante Adams, and he's going to get open no matter what.
Yeah. So
you have to have those special players on his team. And
that's the other part too, right? Like, Davante's gonna get open. Like, Christian Gonzalez is on the IR. They don't have anybody that can cover Davante Adams.
I'm telling you right now,
like
I can see a heavy Davante game plan. Heavy Davante game plan. Because honestly, that was one of the biggest shames to Josh McDaniels in his career. You get a Hall of Fame bound wide receiver who was screwed over by his last team. They would mess him with him, monkey him with his money. And the first time they have to play that old team, he gets targeted 4 times. You got to call more plays for Davante Adams, man. You got to make sure that he's a big part of the offense. That's a big travesty. And that's, again, part of the human element that I think is missing on JMD. That he needs to be a part of that. So I think coming up, it's got to be a big, heavy Davante Adams game plan.
Yeah, DB room's shot to hell. They don't have much of a pass rush, and our run game's the worst in football. We're 32nd in yards per carry. Like we're not going to think that against Bill Belichick, our run game's going to find something, right? Like it's
maybe Van Roten will stop blocking somebody and block nobody again.
Who was Bill Belichick talking about here? During his opening talking about Las Vegas, Bill Belichick said the Raiders have at least 5 of the top players in the league at their position. Who are the
Maxx,
5 top players? Like there's 2 obvious ones, right?
JJ.
Maxx and Davante. JJ, he's playing not anywhere near that this year.
Again, last year he was. So I think
he thinks JJ's better than Christian McCaffrey and
it's hyperbole. So you can just, as long as he's in the sphere, right? So those 3, and I think Carlson and Cole.
So that's where I'm with you, because it's Bill Belichick and he's such a football nerd. Like there's the obvious, Crosby and Adams, and then I think he's like kicker, punter, fullback, or long snapper, or like, you know what I mean, some random position. Long snapper is like
I think he means
special teamers.
Josh Jacobs. I think he means Josh Jacobs, even though he's not doing well this season.
I think he means Jakob Johnson more than Josh. I think
you are full JJ. Of malarkey is what I think.
I think it's Bill Belichick who loves fullbacks. How many fullbacks in this league can you name that aren't on the Niners? Like there's not many.
Ricard from the Ravens. There's a Juszczyk from the Niners.
There's our boy.
There's our boy in Miami.
Yeah.
Who else has a fullback? I think that's it, dude. I can't think of anyone else.
That's my point. You know, Belichick knows him. He's like, oh, Jakob. Oh, I missed that guy. That big German brute.
He's huge. He's an offensive lineman. He's big.
That's what he's brought in to be.
Yeah.
Just be a fucking unit. All right.
Boom.
Where, Jar?
Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.